Story time with Mr. Julio. Tonight, the number 30 from Mr. Man Collection, Mr. Ras, by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Ras was the fastest thing on two legs. He used to rush hither and thither and thither and thither and back again all the time. And of course, he was always in such a rush that he never ever finished anything properly. One morning, he woke up with a jump. He only had time for 3 hours sleep because he'd been rushing about for so long the day before. Oh dear, he cried, leaping out of bed. I'm late. And he rushed into his bedroom and washed, not very well as he was in such a hurry, and cleaned one tooth and rushed downstairs, 3 at a time. Mr. Russ had a boiled egg and toast and a cup of tea for breakfast. He boiled the egg for 5 seconds, and it toasted awful. He toasted the bread for 1 second, and so it wasn't brown at all. And as he couldn't bear to wait for the kettle to boil, he made his tea with a cold water. Ah, what a horrid breakfast! And of course, he was in such a rush he only ate half of it. Rush, rush, rush! Silly fellow! After his half breakfast, he rushed off again, out of his front door, leaving it open, down his garden path, out of his garden gate, leaving it open too, and off down the lane. He passed Mr. Happy. "Hello," called Mr. Happy. "Good morning, Mr. Rat. Where are you off to?" "Can't stop," cried Mr. Rat. "I'm too much in a hurry." "I can see that," wrote Mr. Happy to himself as he watched Mr. Rat disappear into the distance. Wonder where he's going. Where Mr. Rat was going was nowhere. Fast, as usual. Mr. Rush rushed around all morning and then rushed home and had a quick bite of eat a sandwich without bread and then rushed off again, rushing around all afternoon. That evening he was reading a magazine. He never had time to read a book when he saw an advertisement for a holiday. "Oh," he said, "I like that. Haven't had a holiday for ages." But then his face fell. "I can't go on holiday," he thought, "because I don't have any money." And then he thought again, and his face rose. "I know," he thought, "I'll get a job." And so the following morning he rushed off and got a job with a farmer milking cows. But of course, he wasn't any good at that because there's one thing a cow can't start, it's being rushed, especially when she's being milked. So Mr. Russ rushed off and got himself another job, driving a bus. But, of course, he wasn't any good at that because he was always in such a rush he never stopped at any of the bus stops. And if there's one thing people waiting at a bus stop don't like, it's when the bus doesn't stop for them. So Mr. Rat rushed off and got himself another job as a waiter in a hotel. But of course, he wasn't any good at that because no sooner had he reserved the people a meal and they taking one bite that he whisked the plate away from under their noses. And is there one thing hungry people can't stand is having food whisked away from them. Poor Mr. Ras. No jobs, no money. Oh dear, he sighed to himself. I am never going to be able to go on holiday. He looked very glum and gloomy. But then an idea struck him. An idea for a job for someone who rushes around all the time. An ideal job for sure, someone who was the fastest thing on two legs. Do you know what that job was? Would you like to know what that job was? Postman! Delivering express letters. Mr. Ross was so good at it. He delivered twice as many letters in half the time any postman had ever done it before. Soon he had saved enough money for that holiday of his. Quite a happy postman. And so, the very next week, there was Mr. Russ sitting on a beach in the hot sunshine under a palm tree on holiday. This is the life, he grinned, and Russ off for a swim. Bye bye.